Saturday, April 1st was the 1 year anniversary of me crashing my truck, and I commemorated it by going to C2E2 at McCormick Place. I got my ticket at Graham Cracker Comics in Joliet, and I realized, I looked at the date. I was going Saturday, and they had it, Saturday was April 1st. And I looked at it, and I realized that was the 1 year anniversary of me crashing my truck. I thought, well, guess I need this more than I thought. I'm still making payments on the 2015 Chevy Malibu, and the Lord has been providing, which I am forever thankful for. But I had some other bills coming up as well, and I pay off on those. Some of them, it may take me longer than others, but I do pay my bills, and money was kind of tight, and I admit it, I was anxious. And I knew the Lord would provide. He always has, and He always will, but I still get anxious. And it's the anxiousness that bothers me more than anything else. I'm like, why can't I have peace about this? Why can't I have comfort? I guess maybe that's my thorn in the flesh. When God says, my grace is sufficient for thee. And He continues to show His grace to me. March had an extra payday in it, so I had some extra money in the bank, and also I got a settlement. I'm not sure, I don't recall what all the details were, something about the punch-in fingerprint time clock at work. I don't know all the details, but I got like over $500 back from the class action lawsuit. And so I did have some extra money to go up to McCormick Place on. Mostly I go there because Sven goes there. That's where he's at every year. And I went to see him more than anything else or anyone else. There's always other stuff there that I go and look at. The Doctor Who store in Lombard, they always have a booth up there, and there's other exhibitors and people that go up there, and I always stop over and say hi to them and ask them, how are things going on whatever projects they're working on. I always write out who I want to see first before anything else. Sven's always at the top of the list, but I can go around and see the other people while I'm waiting for him to do his Q&A and his autograph session. Most of the day was spent trying to stay out of everybody's way and just walking around. I know I have to watch where I'm going because other people don't. And it gets a little stressful sometimes. Getting road rage when you're walking behind people that are walking slower than you are, and you have to dodge and weave and get out of people's way, or they have to get out of your way, whichever comes first, and it can be hectic. But I do not regret it, not one bit. And after I seen everybody that I wanted to see. I didn't do everything I set out to do, but I did everything I wanted to do. And after I was all done with that, I could just go around and just look at things. Look at what people have, and they always have good stuff up there. But like most things, it's got to be something. They have to have something that grabs me, something that jumps out at me for me to get it. And as wonderful and as awesome as the stuff people have to sell and share with you, there's only certain things that I know will interest me enough to buy them. But it's always a pleasure. And a much needed respite. A much needed break. Because I do struggle with anxiety. I may not always show it, but it's always there. And it's just like, almost like everything will be going fine one minute, and then just the least little thing, a memory or a flashback or something, or whatever you want to call it, intrusive thoughts, and everything will change. So I need things like this. I do. I really do. And I'm always thankful that God provides a way for me to go to things like this and enjoy myself. I am truly thankful. This year for C2E2, I decided to go as Commissioner Gordon. I got the idea from when I, on a previous open mic night, when I read my story, Fingering the Tune, I dressed up in my David Tennant coat with my black tie and beige shirt and pants, dressing as a detective, and I looked at the footage and the pictures of me standing there reading, and I thought, that looks like that could be a Commissioner Gordon costume from when he was on the animated series. That's basically how he dresses. So I went to the spirit store and I found what I thought looked like a pair of old man glasses, the type of glasses an old man would wear, and I got a toy gun, the ones with the orange caps on the front of them so everybody knows they're not real. And I even got a gun holster, which I had never worn before, and it kept drooping on me when I put it on while I was standing in line waiting to go in. But I'll work at it. I'll figure out how it's supposed to go on, and it'll look a lot better, because it kept drooping down my leg. So I'm navigating the crowds with my gun holster drooping down my leg with my toy gun sticking out of it. I think I even wore it on the wrong side too, because I wore it on my right side, and I had my phone and notebook pouch on my left side, and I didn't want them. I had enough I was wearing enough on my left side. I wanted to wear it on my right side so it didn't get in the way. Plus I had my Wild Bill's mug hanging off my phone pouch. And I didn't want I was trying to balance it out. I didn't want everything on one side. So anyway, I'll figure it out. And I got the badge, the Gotham City Police badge from Alien Entertainment in Lombard. And I was pretty pleased with the way I looked, except of course with the gun holster. And I was very pleased that people would stop me and say, "Hey, Commissioner Gordon," you know, because I know he's not as visually exciting as the other characters in the comic or the animated series, but he still plays a pretty big role. I mean, he's been around ever since the beginning of the comic, so he's like one of the main supporting characters. And I was pretty pleased with the way it turned out, and I grew out my mustache. And it wasn't until I had been growing it for a couple of weeks, and people were like, and then people finally started noticing it, and they're like, "Hey, you got a mustache now." And I'm like, "Yeah." So, and then I showed him the pictures after the show was over, and what I was growing it for, and I'll let it stick around a while. But it was good. Like most of it, navigating the crowd was a little stressful, but I never regret going. A bad day at Comic-Con is far more preferable to a good day at work. And like I said, the main reason I was there was to see Sven. He had another Q&A session before he got down onto the main floor for autographs and pictures. I made my way up to the meeting room where he was at, and they had on the big screen off to the one side, they kept showing the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. They just kept playing it over and over and over again, and every time, and when it would finish running, the crowd would start yelling, "One more time! One more time!" And they'd play it again, and everybody would go nuts. I haven't seen the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I just haven't. I mean, I'm sure they're okay. Everybody says they're one of the better MCU movies. But I just haven't watched them. I'm sure I will someday, eventually, but it's just not really, they're just not grabbing me. They're just not jumping out at me. Not a whole lot of things do anymore. But I'm sure I'll watch it eventually. Everybody seems to like them. But anyway, Sven got there, and everybody, the people that wanted to ask him questions got in line, and he answered questions about, stuff, things that he's done over the course of his career, and where Kerwin came from and where Durwood came from. I forgot to ask him. You don't see Durwood on the show much anymore. And I meant to ask him if he'd been finally retired, but I never asked him that. I also wanted to ask him if Sven Tooney was on hiatus or if he was gone for good. Nobody seems to like him either. I don't hate him. I mean, I watched him, but I didn't dislike him the way a lot of people seem to. But anyway, he finally got down on the floor for autographs and photos, and we were already in line, and I eventually made my way up to him and got him to sign my TARDIS journal, and we posed for a picture, and over next to us They were the voice actors from the 90s X-Men cartoon. And the line for Sven was just way, way longer than the line for those. They didn't even have a line. I looked over, there was just like a few people would come up and talk to them and get their autographs, and then a few more would come up, but there was no line for them. Sven had a line. And I kind of felt sorry for them a little bit. I liked the X-Men 90s cartoon. It was kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I've always been more DC than Marvel, but I did enjoy the cartoon. So I finally got him to sign it, and it's about time too, because not only I don't have a whole lot of pages left, but also the thing's been falling apart on me. I'm having to tape the pages up. Just had to tape that. This is supposed to be an officially licensed BBC product, and yet things falling apart on me. On the one hand, I'm disappointed, but on the other hand, I'm not, because this way, you know, I try to look at it as almost like a DIY project. So is when I tape it together and I have stuff sticking out of the edges and whatnot, it gives it that used dog-eared look. It looks like something. It looks like the actual Journal River might have used, and she gets a lot of wear and tear out of it, like I have. I haven't even had it this long. It's been over 2 years, and now it's almost finished. Well, I've got some other journals lined up, ready to be used, and I'll have Sven sign those too. It's not really official until he signs it. But here's my list of everybody I wanted to see, which I did. Daryl Young, Wayward Geek. They have their store in Manuka. They have cool stickers. I go in there every once in a while. Wild Bills. You had to get in a line to get a pass for the day, and you got a discount on your refills. And every time I went over there to get it, the line was just too long for me, and I had other stuff to do. Alien Entertainment was there, of course. I got my Commissioner Gordon badge from them. They didn't have a copy of Doom Coalition Volume 3 like I wanted. That's the 8th Doctor audio drama series I've been listening to. Sven was there. I got to see his panel, and I got my autograph and my picture. And Brianna Garcia, she was there. She does artwork for Disney characters. She created this web comic called When Curiosity Meets Insanity, and Alice and the Mad Hatter from the Disney movie fell in love, and but she has her own pictures and stickers, and one of these days I'm gonna get her, and I'm gonna get a commission from her. She used to do these Disney videos talking with the Disney characters, and they had opened up Pixie Hollow, and Tinkerbell was living in a large teapot, and the Hatter was saying that was his teapot, and she stole it. She flew off with it. And she went to Pixie Hollow and confronted Tinkerbell about it, and she looks in the camera, she goes, "Mad Hatter, are you calling me a pirate? I am nothing but a pirate. I mean, I'm anything but a pirate. So I want her to draw a picture of Tinkerbell dressed as a pirate, flying off with a teapot, and had her standing there on the ground, jumping up and down. But this is a sticker. This is one of her pictures that she made into a sticker. It's Rapunzel meeting Spider-Man. It's cute. She does good work. And I got to see Dirk Manning. I got something from him. And the TriStar booth, he did the first part of a series called Dusk Rider, and I backed it on Kickstarter. I asked him when he was coming out with part 2, but he didn't quite. It's not quite ready to come out yet, but I'm on his list, so I'm sure I'll be informed when he starts that up. John Glover was there. He played Lex's father on Smallville, and he was the voice of the Riddler on Batman the Animated Series. But I saw him, but I didn't talk to him or anything, because he had a line, and I don't know, I needed them. I could have spent the money for a picture or an autograph, but I wanted to save it for other things. So, like I said, I didn't do everything I set out there to do, but I did everything I wanted to do. And like I said, I'm happy I went. And I'll show you some of the stuff I got.